Disclaimer, this video is for educational purposes only.
Hey, I'm Sean Fernandez, and here we are at Rosebud for the
composting and biochar.
So, for display purposes, this is not at all the only way to do it, but the most visually stimulating one is we have our open bin composting here. So, the way you do it here is you start with your initial bin and kind of cycle on down the process, right? So, this is where you kind of put in your raw material, the initial build-up that you're looking for. And it's going to be a mixture of what we call browns and greens. So you might think of your greens as your kitchen scraps and very nutrient, water-rich food stuff, or plant material. Yard waste is just as good. And you're going to keep it all together there, layering it, and you're going to watch this reduce down to about 50% the size before it's ready to go into the next file. So
as it sits and decays.
Yeah, it's going to sit. You're looking for those like active microbes. Oh yeah, this is active biochar. Yeah. Sorry. You're looking for an active temperature range, which means that the microbes are doing their job, eating away and breaking down these materials.
And what are these?
This is coffee grounds. Yeah, it looks like it's ready to go already.
Oh, right.
It's just somebody.
I thought it was dung or something. I thought it was horse poop, and that was something that y'all used to make it more nutrient rich or something.
One of our volunteers stopped by a Starbucks and said, like, "Hey, can we have your coffee grounds?" And
seriously,
they said, "Sure." By the way, stop at grocery stores, restaurants, anywhere where there's food. There are massive amounts of food waste
to come back in,
and then you can bring in. So if you're not producing enough food waste in your own home, like, you don't have to look very far to get adequate food waste to build up that stock. But so you're trying to keep this at a temperature range of between 80 and 100 degrees is a sweet spot. It can go all the way up to 130, and you're still going to have active breakdown going.
130.
Yep. And it can get quite hot.
And how long does it normally take for it to break down?
Well,
or like a pile this size?
Yeah, sure. The composting, so we might say 10 weeks start to finish in Florida with Florida heat. So you can see this reduce down in 3 to 5 weeks or something like that. There's a lot of factors to go into, especially with open bin. The amount of rain you're getting, the heat of the day. All these things can encourage or discourage breakdown as it's happening. In a more controlled environment, you might be able to get down to a science where you can say, like, all right, if I put this in, it's gonna move along. But also the foodstuffs or the material you're putting in, some things take longer to break down. Yeah, yard waste might take longer. So then you shift it on down. After you got about 50%, you're gonna reduce it into the second bin, where it's gonna continue to further break down. And finally, what we actually have here is our sifter.
You ain't looking for gold.
Yeah, this is a type of gold,
Oh, that's true.
So if we have large wood chips or anything that's not quite done, we can use a grater. Again, you don't have to do any of this. You can come up with your own methods. What's convenient for you? What's convenient for your space? But here, we want to filter it out. We can put it onto the grater, let the fines fall through, and then it's in good shape for potting soil and planting.
Oh, wow.
In small spaces.
And then with the remainders, what do you do, like the broken sticks and everything?
We can rotate that back into the pile or use it. Remember, over here we want to layer our browns and greens, so it can be repurposed back there, reintroduced. Right. And then our fourth one is actually just 90 day old, 12 weeks there. This is just storage. As you get your excess, you can have a fourth pile where you're building up that nice stock of compost. So
now this will be nutrient rich.
This is a little bit fibrous, but the soil in there is beautiful. It can grow things quite nicely. Here we have a tumbling method, which is basically everything you saw over there, but self-contained. So you introduce your stock and you layer it and you tumble it all together so it's thoroughly mixed. But as it breaks down,
it drops through the hole on its own.
And you see, yeah, kind of already coming out a little bit. So you catch it down there, and it's ready to go. Then you take that and wherever you need it. So this is a popular method in backyards and smaller spaces. But you can get as small as you want. I'm in a small little townhouse, and I have a couple buckets that I
something that small.
Put out even a little bit smaller. I have a 3-gallon bucket that I'm using currently, and I'm doing some back porch composting. I keep it in the sun so that it helps keep that heat. Because one of the problems is if you have too small a stock, it might not be able to get that critical mass where it's maintaining its own temperature. This will maintain its temperature regardless of the outside temperature up to a point.
Right.
But with that smaller space that I'm working with, by keeping it in the sun, that allows it to stay at its desired temperature range.
All right, so what we got? What did I almost burn myself on? The retort.
So this is the biochar oven. All right. So.
And what is the purpose of this?
If you don't know about biochar, I recommend everyone to do just a little bit of research. It will amaze you. But the essence of it is that the remaining char or charcoal wood that has been cooked up in this oven, or you can dig
after you barbecuing, all of that,
you could dig a hole and do it in there. That's how people did it for
I've cooked in I've cooked in the ground, open pit.
So you take it and you get your, however you do it, you get it into this state, right? You get it into that charcoal state. Then you have to activate it. So, maybe people might already know, like, charcoal is highly absorbent, right? You think about somebody that's taken to the hospital for, overconsumption of something or another. They'll pump them full of charcoal, and that'll pull everything out, and then they remove the charcoal.
What?
Right? Charcoal is highly absorbent substance. It has a lot of surface space. It can pull in that moisture. And so what we do here is we activate the biochar we use this from the biodigester, which you guys are looking to get. You get an effluent that comes out, right?
Right.
We call it highly.
But that's methane.
So no, this isn't the methane. This is the liquid effluent that comes out. If you're talking about the dragon that Dr. Colhane has.
Yeah, that's what she said.
This is, the methane is the gas that comes out. You might think the methane is the dragon's burp.
Okay.
This is dragon
pee. Okay.
Dragon pee.
Okay. All right.
Nutrient rich. Good for what ails you.
But now, can you use that for plant? For
yeah.
To replace watering instead of using tap water?
We have aquaponics, and we use this as a nutrient base for what's being brought to the roots of the plants. This is ready to be introduced to soil. It is in an excellent state. So, but what it also is in an excellent state for is adding to that biochar, or adding to that charcoal wood, turning it into biochar. So we will add that. It'll soak up for 1 to 3 weeks. We will also, so this is high in ammonia. What we want also is nitrogen. So what also can be introduced here is yard clippings, grass and things like that. Basically high nitrogen plant stuff, and it will. You can look in there if you can see. You can't see any grass clippings.
Right.
Maybe a little bit on the side. It's all been pulled into the charcoal, and now you have to mash it up a little bit too.
Into the charcoal.
But now, this is incredibly nutrient rich, and it's ready. It's ready.
It doesn't have any smell or anything. Like, it doesn't have a burnt smell.
Nothing at all. And then you augment your soil with this, and this is going to do a lot of things. Sorry, it's gonna hold moisture in the soil. That's great for plants. It's gonna create a microbiome, because there's so much moisture and surface space, all these different microbes can get in there and set up shop, and they live in a little microbe city charcoal, and they'll develop a symbiotic relationship with the root systems that are around you, where they're exchanging vital nutrients with the plants around you. This is gonna, really increase the productivity of
with
of the crops that you're
the
trying to grow.
towers. Like, okay, say now we have those towers, but we have them indoors.
Sure.
Can that be used as a substitute? Like, because that's the rock wool that you put in there.
Yeah.
So instead of that,
that would be a great experiment. We're not doing that here, but finding a way to introduce some biochar into the hydroponics seems like it
can
should
I
be
have
useful.
some?
Yeah, absolutely.
Listen, we're gonna go to test this. We're gonna use couple of pods. And we're gonna test this.
You gotta share your results.
Yeah, definitely. I'm gonna definitely get your contact information, and I will definitely keep in contact with you. What we got going on here?
Okay, so your typical soil has a carbon ratio of 1 to 10%, right? And one of the things that biochar does is it fixes additional carbon into the soil, which again, fixed carbon in the soil, that's what's going to promote plant growth. In Florida, we tend to be on the lower side of the carbon spectrum, somewhere around.
Well, that because we over with the aquifer.
Yeah, I mean,
you know what I'm saying? We don't have. Yeah.
There's the water. I mean, that we're a peninsula, kind of a floating state. We have very thin soil bases. Right. The long history goes into what makes up and why your soil is what it is. But here's just a simple test where we want to say, okay, how much carbon's fixed in soil? It turns out it's about 5% around here, which is good for growing, good enough for growing, I would say. But this, with the biochar, you can get up to 15%, which is outside of the natural range that you find, which is absolutely. So, but all they did simply here is they took some soil, they put it in a jar with water, kind of shake it up, and it's going to settle, right? Just like, remember grade school science when you put things in and heavier.
Oh, to see what separates.
So the density. So this is the carbon band right there, and
carbon band.
Yeah, so that's your active carbons in the soil, and it's about 5%. It turns out, so you can measure it out, and that's going to give you your percentage, right? So that's also that's a good little home test anybody can do if you kind of are curious what your soil quality is. If you got really sandy soil, very, very little carbon there. And if you got really great, rich black soil, you should see that pretty darn thick, maybe up to 15%, which is maybe have some biochars.
Wow, yeah. So we got an experiment to do. We definitely need to substitute that, because if that's something that. Okay, so what we do? Okay, so technically, but we can't just use. We still have to take it through a process before we actually get to this point. Though.
Right. So what I'm worried about is what you need to do if you're trying to hold on to it. You want to let the water permeate through, but not lose your biochar. Or maybe because this can be liquefied, it just can run through with your.
Oh, just drop some in the water.
I don't know that
it'll dissolve.
Plants, but it could dissolve in and just run in with the rest of the nutrients. It might be something productive. It might not, but you test it out and you find out, right?
Right.
So then the other thing would be to find something to hold it, which allows the water to permeate through, but maintains the carbon inside. And I don't know. Nothing comes to mind.
Yeah. Because those tiles have that trickle down effect on it, so every time that water keeps trickling down, it'll make it dissolve.
Are very porous, right?
Yeah.
And it would probably the biochar would most likely flow with the water in that scenario, but that might not be bad. That might work just fine.
Yeah, but all it's doing is just trickling it down.